hope everything's fine with this stream. I don't know how that happened with the prior stream where comments were or chat was turned off. I've ensured it's been enabled today, right now. So hopefully somebody will come on board soon with this, and let me know that the chat works. But like I was saying, I'm going to wait it out for people to show up. Apologies to anybody watching the prior other one, but I just don't know what happened there. Oh, here we go. Yeah, thank you, JDI. Welcome, JDI. Okay, yes, it's all working. Thank you, Mr. CNNASS. You saved the stream. Okay, I've done enough spiel. Let's get on with the questions and the answers. I'm going to keep the other stream open, or I'm going to keep that up forever. So if you guys got questions, comments, let me know if you were part of the other stream. Yeah, this product I've put out, I guess I call it that, is getting there. Have you ever seen the news about OpenClaw and OpenAI? Yes, I have. There was actual news about the author of OpenClaw, especially Lex Friedman. He was talking about if there's interest, and then there was immediate interest with Mark Zuckerberg at Meta and OpenAI. He was down to that, and he said they could give him at least $100 million. The story was he got a message from Mark Zuckerberg, who's programming, says we want to schedule to meet with you. And the guy said, I don't do meetings. So give me 10 minutes. They converse for half an hour about OpenClaw and Meta. In the same chat with Lex Friedman, he said that OpenAI has been for months following his work, and there's been senior engineers talking about OpenClaw and how influential it was. And the guy did say that OpenAI would have been his preference because they got it more. So he ended up probably getting $100 million. So it's not an official takeover. What I will say, I do think it is that with the OpenClaw, that what it really is that it's just a way of a major competitor to come in and just take them out and just politely quieten the situation, because it would have had that much impact. I've not played with OpenClaw directly, but I have seen some ways to do it through skills and stuff. So I'm still gonna kind of play with those with Clawbot in a safe way, because I'm going through third parties, so I don't have to worry about any weird potential hacking or whatever else. So I want to try it out. But I've been keeping up with pretty good with a lot of the other new stuff coming in. Yeah, I've been purposely testing many different recent LLMs to see how they stack up against each other. But as I said earlier on the prior stream, I do think DeepSeek 4 is going to really change everything. And as I said, all the major players were window dressing to put out their latest stuff before the release of DeepSeek, because they know a tsunami is coming, so they'll just try to put out their latest stuff to sort of keep up with DeepSeek, because it's has much impact on the whole overall global AI space. Good question, JDI. Thank you for that. If you guys got any other questions, let me know. I know you're one of the more high participants in the whole thing. Without you, we have short streams. I'm not sure if you were on last week, but we were down to an hour and a half, but with yourself and a few other people, we had 2-3 hour streams. So I'm here for that if need be, or if required. So in the meantime, if you guys got questions or comments, let me know. Yeah, like I said, with the interactive brokers, I'll blab until I see a question. I'll just leave it at that. With the interactive brokers, you guys, in the last couple of streams, well, a bunch of streams since December, have asked about IBKR, and that's why I put the thing out. So I'm trying to make it as low cost as possible, and to make it as easy as possible. And that's why when I discovered the Kilo extension for VS Code, I said I gotta make something out of this, and I did, and it's out now. So JDI comes back. Jay, do you think that trading rounds lot versus odd lots make a big difference in success of trading strategies? Do odd lots make it easier for institutions to identify retail traders' algo strategies? I'll try to broaden that at a higher level. I think a lot of retail traders are going to come in with small amount of lots when they put out their orders, depending upon their style of trading. If you're starting out with a brand new bot, you obviously got to start out with a low quantity. And most of the time, from my experience, the higher lots you're speaking of are probably in the millions, $100 million accounts. So those type of positions that you're talking about are probably going to be in the $1 million per position, whereas the retail traders might be a couple of thousand at best. So I don't think it has an influence, but as a whole, HFT shops will look at the whole space of retail traders, regardless of how many lots they put out. And their goal is to kind of wipe out those traders because they're following what the asset is doing. So as a result, they're going to use their quote stuffing and whatnot, front of line techniques to sort of clear the deck and then put their massive trade in. And then that alone will move the market. Is it right? No. They're trying to make it legal. So we'll see where it goes. But I think individually for retail traders, it won't make a difference because now there's a lot of traders following the queue of what is being traded. So the cool thing about with what I've got, it comes up with a combination of very unique style of trading. I put out yesterday the different PDFs, and you can see that there's about 20 plus strategies just from 1 days of news. And you'll see if you go through it, you'll see that they're pretty unique. And I highly doubt that any major HFT shop will be trading the same way. So if you're using something that's unique, that's not really going to be followed, you probably can do okay, and you won't be impacted as much, as if that kind of answers your question. Because if everyone's trading the same style, the same strategy, and they're all crowding out the opportunity, then yeah, they will be impacted. But if you're trading with a combination, as with some of the strategies that I've put out as a whole, with like a couple of puts here and a future there, all in one strategy as a set of positions, I don't think you'll be impacted as much, because usually you'll be layered with the downside protection as well. So that's the whole point of it, is to prevent any of those kind of shocks coming into the trade or into the opportunity. Because like usually if there's a put on something and you anticipate something bad will happen, once it hits that point, it'll allow them to close out the position. You profit from that right away. That's the style of trading that the AI I'm creating will always have a downside protection depending upon what direction you want to go, on top of having unlimited potential on the upside as well. And it's in reverse if you're shorting, but I don't like to short because it's higher risk. There's very little long-term momentum right now on the markets. So I don't know. I could provide a better example of what I posted today with the Ethereum and Bitcoin, even though people say you shouldn't trade neither. But the leading assets right now in futures and options is crypto and Bitcoin. Oddly enough, even though people are scared to trade it, but it's not the trading style that you're used to. And some of it can actually involve other mainstream Bitcoin exchanges. Hello, Paul Jackson. Hi, how are you? How you doing? If you got questions, let me know. I appreciate you being here. So if you guys got further questions, let me know. As I said in the previous stream, I'm really excited where things are at. I've talked about, let's say a month ago, being able to generate strategies very quickly. Well, I can do it now with what I've got. JDI, do you have any concerns over some of the proprietary strategies being stolen with some of these AI models? No, I don't worry about it one bit because it all comes down to your prompting. If you want to generate really unique strategies, you can do that. The problem is if you're coming in with a low quantity in terms of an account size or low level of risk per strategy slash position, you will be affected. But the more higher risk you're willing to put in, the less you'll be impacted, if that makes sense. But as I said, it just comes down to your prompting and knowing the trend and what kind of event may be predicted. You don't have to worry about it, but if you're coming in as a generalist and not being as deeply knowledged on the current event, yeah, you will be impacted. As I said, it does come down to that. And the other thing that will limit you on that when you generate strategies or trading bots is the type of model you use. So if you're using, let's say, a free open source AI model, like, I don't know, I'll tell you, Quen's kind of cool, but it's not as good as an advanced, very expensive Claude 4.6. So if you're going to do the same, not prompt, actually I could say, if you use the same prompt on Quen, you'll have a much better chance of meeting your goal versus something like Quen. Because with Quen, what it does, because it's free, it waters down the strategy, if that makes sense. So as another example, I've tried the new Gemini Deep Research that came out, and it's under what's it called, beta mode, but I have access to it. I've tried it. When I first tried it, I didn't like it. But if you ask questions regarding algorithms, oh my God, the Deep Research is amazing. And it's very expensive, but it's very good. As an example, somebody gave me a general output of the overall, and it was from Gemini Pro, the overall algorithm for YouTube. I took the same prompt and asked Deep Research to come up with a better prompt result. And I was like, wow. And then I fed it into another one, and it was just as good. And that's the difference between the level of quality of output, depending upon how much money you're willing to spend on each prompt. That's a big deal as well. So there's new, up-and-coming, newer things you have to consider when you generate these trading bots, if that makes sense. So there's a variety. And trading strategies being stolen, I'm not worrying about it, because generally, if you're trading on news events, that news event could last a day, it could last weeks. So if you're trading on a news event that nobody knows a lot about, you'll be one of the unique ones out there trading that news event with anticipation of something happen. So an example, if in the next day USA decides to attack Iran, you have positions on oil, you will profit immensely. Okay? Now, if you're early in on that, and then 2 days later, a bunch of people came up with the same style of strategy, but you will probably reap better benefit out of the position versus other people, and risk and money is a factor there. But that's kind of like why I've done what I've done, because there's many things that the AI is now showing me that I would never ever consider. It gives me shock events like probability, and we're going to develop a strategy based upon this and and it factors everything in there as part of the strategy. For, as I said, a good example is this oil trade for potential attack on Iran, right? Who else got questions? We got other questions, JDI, let me know, or Paul Jackson, if they got a question, let me know. Because this is exciting times, and you don't have to be a real rocket scientist to really know this stuff anymore. But the deeper you know things, really on news and it's short term, you will not be impacted by it. I don't think so. Because you're not getting the retail crowd trading, because the retail crowd is usually reactionary to a situation. That's why they watch the charts, and then they react. But you're anticipating a day, 2 days, or maybe have a bot running in anticipation of that event. How has progress been with Rhythmic? Rhythmic has gone as far as I could take it in terms of a technical. It's been like that for the last 2 weeks, I would say. With Interactive Brokers, now that I have the same thing with Interactive Brokers, the prompting and the trading strategies are the same now. So they're neck and neck. I'm going to continue focusing on Rhythmic now. I just prefer it. I don't know why, but I just made something for the masses for Interactive Brokers. But everything's pretty well the same with Rhythmic, but I'm going to start working on strategies and actually maybe trade with the real live server now with the current setup I have. So that's my preference right now. But the cool thing about it is, as I've said before, now that I can run both Interactive and Rhythmic and Interactive Brokers with the exact same strategy, and if I focus on medium frequency, I can use one for testing and one for production. Because as you know, I think it's very difficult to trade live and test in the same connection into the broker that you're using. So if you have both, one for testing and one for live trading, it can be done for sure. My question to myself is that when it comes to Rhythmic, so let me say this. When you're with Interactive Brokers, you only have the trader workstation, and that's your only connection into TWS via software. I do know as a fact, if you have one active connection into your account via API or web portal or the gateway, you can only have that one connection live. Whereas with Rhythmic, my question is, can I have two pieces of software into the same account? I want to test that, if that makes sense. Just turn telemetry off in Cursor or Claude. I'm past the telemetry now, and I'm only using VS Code for all this. This can be used now, this style can be used in any IDE. I just think that VS Code I've been using now for a month, and I'm not too concerned about it at all. Although I guess that isn't 100% foolproof. You don't trust them at all. For me, it's not a question of trusting, because the thing is, as I said, if you focus your trading as quickly to respond to an event or at the anticipation of an event, you don't have to worry about this, because as I said before, when it comes to the retail trader that are just watching charts, you're anticipating an event, and as it takes hold, your strategy most likely will be designed for that event. Once it sees the event, because of option chain data or even future data itself, it's going to be light years ahead of the retail trader, who's usually going to be only watching the spot market. So you may have a couple of hours or even a couple of days before the retail trader catches on to the event. So I'm not too worried about AI stealing any of that. And even at that point of view, the good thing about strategies is, thank you for the likes, I appreciate that. The thing is, with the way it's designed, usually it's going to be one event, and what's the likelihood of that same event going to happen in a week or a month or 6 months from now or even a year from now? The probability of that's going to be very, very low. So if you have a strategy that's active when the event's happening and the early stages of it, and then you close out that position because of the event, and will that same strategy work again? Probably not. So that strategy is somewhat disposable. So even if somebody was to steal it or the AI was to steal it, it's kind of worthless after that point, right? And that's kind of like the edge that you have trading this style, and that's what the HFT shops have as well. But as I said, if you're just a retail trader watching charts in a spot market, usually they will not see that event until 2-3 days later. They wait for the confirmation, which could be another day, then they trade, and by the time that happens, they're way out of the game and at the late stage of that event on that price move, and then they start losing money quickly. And that's the problem of this style of trading. Hello, Pixel Z. Thank you for joining. Appreciate that. Do you use Minimax now for developing strategies, and how much data do you give it at once? Can it handle a lot of data at once? Okay. In the video or the product I've got with the interactive brokers, I only recommend Minimax 2.1, 2.5 now. The only reason I suggest that is because it's free using the Kilo extension. That could change at any point. So that's not me saying I prefer to use this model. I only design it because there's a lot of people out there that don't have a lot of cash. That's why I price it the way it is. And that's at the bottom, and it's linked into this stream as well if you want to check it out as well. But that's why I purposely chose all that, because it's nothing but free, and the only cost is your first $30 on the actual thing, and then after that is your commission fees. Because if you fund interactive brokers with 500 US, now you're dealing with free market data. So after that, you're going to be paying peanuts in commissions. So because of that, it's designed for people that are on a budget. Now, if you're asking me what's my preferred current model for development, easily anything from Claude 4.5, 4.6. And I say that because initially I saw a huge difference using the same prompts between those minor versions, huge change between that same model. If I took the same prompt between Minimax 2.1 and 2.5 last week, I would see very little change. And that's the same thing with any of the most recent stuff, including the OpenAI stuff. So because of that, and you want to get the most impactful iterated change in your code of high quality, go with the Claude. And if you can afford it as part of your AI budget, stick with Open for Claude. The problem is, as a secret thing, well, it's not really secret, but people don't mention it, is initially design your bot or whatever with Claude. And when you go into debugging mode, that's when you start using Minimax because it's so cheap. If you keep iterating on the debugging stage, you're going to get killed with Opus 4.6. Whereas you can use a lower cost model like a Minimax, but if that quality is not good with, I find, and I still think that the Codex 5.2 from ChatGPT or OpenAI is still pretty good for the balance. But if you want ultimate coding quality coming out of an AI for programming, easily I'd recommend only the Claude. But for debugging, there's very capable debuggers with this. Now, Pixel versus. This is another thing why I designed this thing, because there's people like Pixel versus his situation. So part of this product that I've got with the interactive brokers, I purposely went online to look for a MQL expert advisor. Okay, you can take that expert advisor, put it into the project, attach it as part of the prompt, and then just say in the prompt, convert this code from MQL5, MQL4, and convert it into Python, right? And then have it make it work with the current setup. And usually, 99% of the time, it will code it up 100%, flawlessly. This is how good it is. I've done it twice now with TradingView and MetaTrader MQL 4.5. Works no problem. And that's another reason why I implemented that. So now, if you're comfortable with that, you can now dump. I mean, there's nothing wrong with MetaTrader. It's the brokers I have a problem with that use MetaTrader. So you can dump MetaTrader, still download all the code, and convert it into Python using this process. I've got documentation as part of the thing, which is, again, as I said, linked to the stream. because it's a very expensive price of $30. But it's designed with that too. There was for TradingView, for any proprietary trading platform. That's why I've said that this thing will work with any piece of code from a trading platform. You just say, most of the time the AI will recognize the trading platform code. The question is if it's a very proprietary, unknown platform, it may struggle to convert from that piece of code into the Python. Whereas if it's MetaTrader, TradingView, probably NinjaTrader, all the popular trading platforms and their proprietary code, you can easily convert it into Python with the setup, because I've tried it and it works great, and it works pretty well right out of the gate, and you're ready to go to trade with interactive brokers with that setup that I've mentioned. It's I don't want to say it's awesome, but that was part of the other thing as well. So you can code up whatever piece of code you have. If it's MetaTrader, TradingView, PineScript, whatever, you can convert it into Python with this methodology on the cheap, as I mentioned as well. Or if you have a strategy that you've been working on for a long time that you struggle with, whatever language, convert it into Python, and then you could trade it in test mode with interactive brokers with the demo mode as well. And that won't cost you anything until you decide to fund the account if it's interactive brokers, and the other only cost you have is the AI cost. And as I said, there's cheap Chinese AI, which is like on the pennies to get this stuff done. So hopefully I'll answer your question. Anyone else out there that has similar question? That's really good that you mentioned that, because I would have forgot about that. That's a big benefit here as well. I mean, eventually people will figure it out and do the same thing. But all the source code's there. It's ready to go. You just got to, get it and try it out and see how it works out for you. But I think, that's why I priced it the way it was priced. There's no excuse, basically. That's what I'm saying. If you guys got any other questions, let me know about this thing I'm talking about, the interactive brokers, or any other general trading, investing, algo trading, whatever. Let me know. I think this thing is pretty exciting out because it's out there. Mosaic Scholar, hello. You still recommend moving off Quant Connect to IBKR directly? Absolutely. Any person that's stuck in whatever platform, whatever framework they're using for trading should move off it and let the AI do all that work for you. So nothing against Quant Connect. I think Quant Connect's fantastic, but it's like everything else. Like these software as a service is pretty well dead now, or will die soon once people catch on to this, because it's so important that people figure out the AI can do everything. That means you don't need to buy books, you don't need to buy courses. Just use the AI as it's intended, and just have a way to convert from whatever to whatever you want to trade on. And usually it's going to be Python, and usually if it's going to be for retail, it's going to be interactive brokers, which is the world's most popular exchange out there. And yeah, I would do that if you're starting out. Now, if you're on interactive brokers, you don't like interactive brokers, there's better exchanges to be on. If you're in futures and options, yeah, get a broker that will support Rhythmic. It's very good. And I think, as I said earlier in my last stream that got messed up, as I said, the important thing is to be able to adapt very, very quickly in a highly volatile, unpredictable market. Because if you're just trading the old way, you're probably going to give up, because you're probably going to give up a lot of profit because that volatility will go against you. When I said about the cheap Chinese AI, as I said earlier, there's the Mini Max, which is currently free with the Kilo extension I've mentioned. There is a limit on it. I've tested it. It craps out anybody. I won't tell you, but there is a limit. But then you can just switch to another AI like Quen. You could use probably soon DeepSeek 4, which will be, for a while, will be number one and very low cost. What else would there be? K2 could maybe do the job as well. So Any of those AI that you know of that from China are very low cost. The one I tried out was a GLM 4.5 now. Very expensive for a Chinese AI. But the ones I've already mentioned are good. Right now, Minimax is the most aggressive and very high quality and very low price. Like peanuts. Pennies. Pennies, I say. You should. There's no excuse for not doing this. I'm too excited by it. But even if you're a miser, there's no excuse. Even if you have low tech knowledge, there's no excuse. I'm telling you. I mean, and especially now we're moving into high volatile markets. Yeah, you already know. If you guys got any further questions, let me know. I'm here to serve the. If JDI's out there or Mosaic Scholar, Pixel Verds, I think from what I'm saying, they're kind of like is if people are going to say I can't do it, maybe algo trading and trading is not for you because we're virtually very little excuses not to be able to accomplish this with the setup. And the reason, as I said, I go with interactive brokers because it's free. All you need is an email and validate the email. Off to the races you go, and you can use this thing. And interactive brokers is supported among 34 countries worldwide. So again, there's no excuses for that. As I said, if you guys got questions or comments, let me know and whatnot because we've done the streams for a couple hours many times. Sorry about the prior stream. No comments were disabled. I don't know why, but thankfully somebody who watches Vivid, and it was very dedicated, caught that and saved the stream. I would never have thought of that, but here we are. So I can blab along for a while until I see the next question or comment. Like I said earlier, there's been a lot of haters stuff, and I look at the situation, I'm like, either people are struggling with a strategy for too long and they get too married to it. They could take that code and just feed it into this setup, this process, and convert it into Python. And it's probably going to be better code, to be honest, more robust. And you can just ask the prompting of the AI to make it better. You can debug it. So you don't have to be a strong programmer because I have many people that hire people and they get a piece of code and they don't know what to do with it. Well, now you can convert it into Python using this methodology pretty well on the cheap as well. So there's those people. There are, what was the other one? I think the other bunch of people were the marketers of the trading platforms, and I'm saying, no, you don't need that anymore. I think eventually over time, people will catch on about this, that do they really need that customary proprietary platform? Do they need a prop shop? Do they need all of this stuff when they can just go through this process, convert it, everything, whatever, into Python, and you could do it within literally minutes. I developed two very complicated Bitcoin and Ethereum strategies for futures. Works. Did it from ground up, literally probably within an hour with the way and imagine if you have the opportunities there, but you want to be able to co-generate or code up a strategy for that event, you can do that now, and you can do it very quickly. And I think it's such a good job. Do you really need to back test it or to go through all of that? I don't know. But even if you want to back test it, there are ways to do that as well. Just getting your hands onto real data, back test the data. You could do that in probably 15 minutes and see the result. Boom, bada bing, as you say, But it is that, it's real now. This is no hocus pocus, no smoke and mirror stuff. It's real. We're at that point now. So if you guys got questions or comments, let me know. But I'm very excited with this, for sure, because I think we are on the cusp of something big. So let's say if you're out there and many people might not be able to find work, might not be able to see their career anymore. This is a path. Go into algo trading, work your own bots. Don't have to be a strong programmer. As I said, you can learn on the go. The documentation is very good. It's very cheap. It's really pennies, I think now, per prompt. And you could probably $10, $15 a month at tops if things go the way they are with the AI models that I talked about from China. Along with the setup with interactive brokers. When you're comfortable, throw a couple $100 at interactive brokers, live account, and trade live. And then you can apply it to other brokers as well, very easily. But we're there now. So if you, like I tell people, if you're working in a job that you hate, which is what, 90% of the people, I think, this type of business, which it can be, which it will be for yourself, you enjoy it, you can take this to the day you die, right into retirement, well into retirement, and it's going to be around forever. The futures market has been around, for 150 years now, so it's not going anywhere. Same with the crypto, and if you want to trade safely in crypto, I'd rather trade in the futures market with Bitcoin and Ethereum, but they've just added XRP, Solana, and Stellar as well. So you got some now, about 5 or 6 different altcoins as well. And then you have everything else on top of that. You can trade currencies, you can trade equities, the equity markets, the indices. I mean, you can trade agriculture, currencies, bonds. The best one that will do well if things go really bad, and I keep saying, is VIX. When you have a very bad market, just look at what VIX does that day and you'll see it spikes a lot. So imagine if you pick that daily move. So you cover it at both angles. That's what I'm saying. Good or bad? I don't know. I think I might have chased away a few people. But if you guys got questions, let me know. Yeah. Still waiting for questions, comments, criticisms even. Hey, why not? Anything you got in your mind? I am in process. Here is my travel schedule. Okay, I'm going to be booking it probably in the next week. It will maybe affect all of these streams. It will affect, for sure, March and April. My intention is to, as I said before, to get down to Panama for, 2 weeks to scope it out. And sometime maybe in April, I have no idea how long for, I'll be doing the Gulf region as well. And that's including UAE, maybe Qatar as well. So we'll see how that plays out. So I have no idea. And I'm also potentially looking at early summer or May, Portugal as well. And you might go, why? Why would I do that? Well, as you watch all the Canadian videos, people are relocating and for a variety of reasons. So that's the plan. And I'll be doing another big tour probably in the fall as well. But for the near term, over the next, 4 months, that's the schedule. Nothing to impact, but it will impact during the time I'm gone, but I'll do my best to keep everyone all happy. Yeah, so Moisa Scholar, you were in UAE. I've never been, but from what I'm seeing, it's pretty cool. You can apply for a visa digitally in 2 weeks and get a response if you qualify. So if you're a proprietary trader, you can qualify. Part of the fee, you'll get corporation. They give you an option for office space. They really want people like you and me over there, immensely. And it's not all that expensive to live. Not tax-free, 9%, big deal, but it's a nice life. And I'm not going to go on about the problems of the West, but generally it is appealing. And hearing people, because I'm born British as well, and looking at that country, I don't think I'll be going back there for a while, if ever. I don't know. But Dubai seems to be, or UAE seems to be a good backup as well. And I'm also looking at potentially Singapore down the line too, which kind of is weird because being in Toronto all my life, they said Toronto versus Singapore. Singapore is too expensive. Well, the cost of living in Toronto now is just as high, and getting as high as Singapore. And Singapore is, well, 25% income tax, which is pretty low. So that's what I'm looking at. Just Canada is just not the same as it used to be. Anyways, if you guys got questions or comments, let me know on the interactive broker thing. If you're, as I said, if you're interested in it, just go check out the link at the bottom in the shopping. That will take you to what I'm talking about for the very, very expensive price of $30. So let me know if you got questions. Moise, you're getting up there. Yeah, UK is in the best shape for sure. These past 10 years or so, Chicago here, not the same as it was 20 years ago either. Yeah, I think generally the West is whatever. For me, I was over, and remember, I'm from Toronto, so I'm very used to what they're complaining about, okay? But when I go over there, they don't know what they're complaining about compared to being in Toronto. But it's not so bad. The thing is, I did a tour of UK in late 2024, and it looked pretty good. But now, with all the new laws they're bringing out, it's like, nah, I'm not interested at all. I mean, just typing up something badly, it's just, no. It's too scary to be, in fact, as well. So I'm unfortunately tied down to Chicago for now, but I do work on a small options market-making firm with C++. So cannot complain as I'm interested. I'm learning a lot. Oh, that's great. ADI haven't reached out to me yet, sadly. ADIA, sorry. Not sure what that is. I'm an old man, so I don't keep up with the kiddie talk right now because I'm just kind of showing my age, I guess. Anyways, yeah, about Chicago, I know they pay a lot of money for these jobs, but I'm sure from what I'm hearing, the jobs are getting more competitive, more people, the number of candidates are getting up there, and where it gets worse now is more and more firms are laying people off. Those experienced people are going to be applying for the same jobs, so more and more people get put on the back burner. So obviously the PhDs, the CFAs are going to be front of the line and blah, 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 blah. So I don't know where it's at now officially, but I can imagine it's not that competitive. I'm sure the pay scales are coming down because of it. And as a result, if you're currently working, they're probably putting even more heat on you as well for your job. The way I see it is if you are in a market making firm, if you want to confirm this for me, Moise Scholar, if I pronounce your identity wrong, I apologize. Just confirm you're trading, or your firm's mostly futures and options, right? I've been saying that for a long time. Anybody who wants to have a high-paying job needs to know futures and options, number one. And now with the AI doing the high-quality job of coding, I did see in the last month or so reports from other folks sending me stuff is that they should now focus on either physics or math if they want to get in this space. But I think over time that will be less challenging as well, because as I said, I played with the Gemini Deep Research, and that's pretty mind-blowing. There's other AI models I know that are specifically built for quant trading, and the premier one is built by a quant trading firm out of China, which is called DeepSeek. So that over time is the coding along with the HFT stuff is crazy, man. And the AI can do it. I've seen it. You can now do code for FPGA as well. It's crazy. And this is direct market access stuff, which I've never seen before, but it can be done. Oh, Aaron Mado, hello, how are you? Hi, Brian, I hope you are doing fine, man. I'm doing fine being on these streams with folks like you. For a question, what do you think of futures prop firm or companies with a trading desk developing AI agents for workflow for HFT? Do you think this is the future? No, it's not the future. I kind of talked about it before, but no, it's not, because of the AI. If you look at the product that I've got, you don't have to buy it, but just take a look at it, what it can do. You can do all the stuff that you're speaking about on your own, and you can do it on the cheap. There's no edge that these firms have over anybody else. The thing is that it's just you being limited in what you generate. So, yeah, that's the future. Anything else is not the future, and it's going to die out over time, and it's cheaper too. So good luck to them stay in business. So Moisa came back with, yep, futures options, trying to get into CBOE options. We use AI heavily. That said, we noticed that junior devs who used it heavily ended up not being able to answer these things quickly about how it works. So I don't know if you're in a hiring position or can hire, but it just kind of confirms what I've been saying, is that the junior devs, they're just poorly educated. I've seen it mentioned many times online. If you really want to get educated, you've got to go through this process of what I put out. Play with the AI, see what it can do, see that you can do very sophisticated stuff with it, both for the quant and the C++ coding if you want to go down that route. It just starts with Python, because that's to hit the masses. So thank you for sharing that insight, because that's a rare point of view to get. I highly value people like yourself that's providing that insight. So with follow-up, FPGA devs at the firm is burning through tokens. Senior devs are also using Claude skills to just boost their productivity. It's not just a Claude anymore. There are very advanced models that a lot of people don't know that can do the job on the cheap. They are coming out of China. I've already mentioned them. For sure, DeepSeek can do it. DeepSeek 4 will more than do it on the cheap, along with very sophisticated ones that are very good at coding, like K2 is very good at generating code as well. Minimax is pretty good, but any of those I just mentioned are very cheap. So the Claude's is kind of irrelevant. The skills thing and agents are very expensive. I've mentioned that last week with the Claude code. There are, if you just stick with what I've put out with the prompting, the way I do it, you can do it on the cheap, and it will impact everything in the project as well, in the code base as well. But you don't need to run all these agents in parallel. Will killing your AI budget, and especially if you stick to the lower cost Chinese AI as well. It's the better. And as I said before, we're at a point now where you compare Claude 4.6 versus the Minimax 2.5, let's say. It's about 90% there of what Claude can do at 5% of the cost. And as I said before, why is it so cheap? Well, it's because the CCP is subsidizing it all. Go figure. I mean, that's the real reason. People don't want to know that, but that's the truth. So you follow up, and yes, I have been feeling the heat lately. Bingo. Not even 5 months in. Hopefully I can at least last a couple of years. It is a daily battle, though, to say the least. High expectations. Yeah, here's the thing that I'm seeing and hearing on word on the street or through the grapevine. If you really want to stay valuable to a firm, a couple of things you've got to keep in mind. If your firm comes to say, hey, do you want to be a team lead for a bunch of coders? You say yes. Hey, we want you to be a team desk leader. You say yes. Anytime you say no, is there a reason to get rid of you? Because there's going to be somebody out there that will do it even though they don't know what they're doing. The point is that you have to show value and revenue for your firm that you're working at. The more revenue you show and more consistently profitable, the more they want to keep you. That's how you have to evolve. If you're just some coding dude that just codes and nothing more on the math, specifically on the trading side, yeah, I don't know your situation, but if you are, I would strongly consider focusing more on the trading side and learning the trading strategies themselves, and just understand that whole movement of the flow, I should say, of strategy, the math involved, and the coding. But as I keep saying, the top skill to have now to keep these type of high-paying jobs and to stay in the field as long as you can is the trading skills. They're going to be very valuable because yes, we can code now because of AI, and yes, we can also do math. And like they got like I don't know if you know, like Gemini, the latest version for deep research is specifically for that with the so-called science community. I don't know if you heard about the OpenAI Prism, which is another one for scientific. And all the Chinese ones, as is, are pretty good now. Like we'll see what DeepSeek comes out with the version 4, because I think that will definitely set new standards. So I'm not saying that as a discouragement against anybody, just trying to give insight to people. This is what firms will look for. And I do know that firms are looking for people with a social media presence, I guess, or that have trading. I'm hoping to get a guy who's 18, and he's only 18. He's just gone into university now in math. This guy's a genius, and where he's a genius at, he's a social media who's just came out of nowhere, 30,000 followers. I'd love to do an interview and profile him and say, this is the kind of guy you need to be. I just did a guy last year named Mark or Mike, I can't remember, and he was going into NYU. He was very motivated, but it's not anymore that. It's where this other guy is at. And he's only 18 too. So just remember that. I'm not trying to mention that. Anyways, you come back with, thank you for the insight. I said, I really appreciate it. Yep, I noticed. I struggle with trading logic. That is definitely the valuable knowledge, not the C++ alone. It used to be enough for C++ knowledge. Now it's definitely, as I said, I think he knows who he is. He sent me an article found on eFinancial Careers, and I think it was in there that had that article that said you will need to focus on math and physics. Like if you're going into school, like university, you got to focus on math and physics now to get these high-paying jobs. Not computer science anymore alone. It's not enough because there's that, and that's the kind of things that firms want now are the minds on how to solve quantitative models, which is either going to be math and higher priority to the physics minds as well. So if you transition to that, the better you're off. And then really understand that impact on the models. If you guys got questions or comments, let me know. Anybody come in and blah, blah, blah. I will say I'm part of, I've said this before, the WhatsApp messaging group. Messaging groups, they're very good, but they do have, I can tell, some very good quantitative researchers and managers that are very high paying. I don't know that's as a fact, but the way they answer things, they say the same thing. It's all data led. So I'm seeing the minds of these people, and they mostly focus on the math first as a quant, or as a real quant. And then there's going to be the secondary talk of coding. And most of that coding is where AI is at and how it's impacting coding in the space of quantitative. That's pretty what I'm seeing. Anyways, Hacky Cat Singh. So I forgot your name wrong. Appreciate you being here. Thank you for your question. I've been working in the reg tech AI for a few months. It pays well, but I want to switch in the quant community. Hopefully what I've been mentioning that you caught to stay in this business is important. To be strong in physics and math. If you have the education in computing or computer science, you're fine. But to transition into quant, the best way is to focus primarily in trading futures and options, number one, and only that. You want to go into this space for the high paying. You want to stay out of the retail mindset, in the quantitative institutional mindset as number one, and focus on that. And then if you got the coding skills, that's great. But knowing as I said, understanding the trading front on the research for quant models and being really good at that. And as I said before, there are a lot of experienced people in these WhatsApp groups. So, yeah, Aaron came back with, I have been working with math, but trying to explain the things in physics fundamental level. Math alone explains itself, but for example, modeling the market in a polar way to also give the other. Yeah, I think once you get access to something like the Gemini Deep's research, that can help you. You can put in very basic things and just say, give me an equation, as you mentioned in the other one, and it will do that. And you can go step by step to kind of iterate to understand what it's doing. This is the first time being able to do it, MATLAB, up until when AI came out, was very good at that, but that was very expensive to use. So with AI, it's here. And as I said, you can do it with quite a lot of the Chinese models, but I think with the DeepSeek 4, that's going to really revolutionize whatever it is with that. And again, that will be done on the cheap. One thing I'll mention about the WhatsApp groups, what I'm finding is a lot of students come in, and what happens is a lot of them are motivated to come in, and a lot of them have good trading models and trading ideas, but they bounce it to these senior quants that are very experienced. And what happens is they don't like the notion that their trading idea is no good because the senior's saying it's no good, don't go down that path, and they argue. You don't want to do that. But it's good to have the trading idea. But with these kind of WhatsApp group, it's good for those people to help guide you using better modeling. But generally, from what I'm seeing, it's important to always be data-led. And what will drive that are news, like news events, as I said before. And then let the data come out of that. And then the AI is so advanced now, you can kind of build fairly sophisticated trading and future option strategies from those events. So just pointing it out there. If you can do that, you're pretty good to go and not worry so much about the coding anymore because the AI is generating really good quality code and it's pretty well near flawless on the first iteration, and just let it go and learn that. So Aaron came back with, MATLAB is just a dinosaur stuff now, like you say, LOL. The funny thing about MATLAB, they just seem to be very good at us keeping up to date and kind of, in a weird way, being able to stay ahead of the game. I think this is going to be a very tough moment for them, but up until this AI thing, they were very good at keeping up, even with Python and R, and they always made the software compatible with all the major languages, so they were very open on that. They weren't like some of the other competing products with MATLAB, and because of that, they were able to stay in business because of that. But with the AI, I'd be very interested to see how they anticipate to keep up to date. It's going to be tough. I think this will be the first time to say that. And I'm sure you've read in the stock market news that they're saying anything software related is going to suffer now, especially any software as a service, like as big as Salesforce, and a lot of big firms are getting clobbered as well. So that's all because of the AI, and it's democratizing that technology to us little schmucks and being able to bang out some very powerful things, and at the same time be able to generate many things that a lot of these big firms are doing as well. And now it's equalized the playing field. And again, they don't have a lot of trading edge left, unless the only thing these big trading firms have is that they have their lobbyists somehow to hobble the CME or something else for not good reasons. But I think that's all going to come to a change once these new regulations come in to put a stop to this quote stuffing and front running and all that fun stuff. So my thoughts on Opus 4.6. Just so you know, the new sonnet just came out today. Not just for Claude, but the sonnet as well. I play with the Opus 4.6. Anything coming out with Claude is light years ahead. Still is up until now. There's a lot of companies trying to get closer to it, but if cost is a factor for you, as I said, check out Minimax because they're kind of interesting at like pennies versus the dollars you spend with Opus or Anthropic. So yeah, and right now Minimax is the interesting one, but I'm just dying with anticipated breath here for DeepSeek 4 because I think that's going to revolutionize everything right now in the space, and probably will do something not negative, but will challenge Claude, Anthropic Claude as well. We'll see, but that's what I'm anticipating with what I'm seeing in the preview news that I'm seeing. But Opus right now is great, but it'll be interesting to see what DeepSeek does with the new DeepSeek 4. I'd like to, if DeepSeek wants to stay on top of their game, they have to keep up regularly, updating very frequently. Like they didn't do a lot over the last year, and they fell behind. So if the DeepSeek 4 comes out and maintains that edge, they'll be king of the hill in no time. And when you hear about the AI demise, it's not because of the cost of data, all that. What will kill off Western AI, well, very likely it's because of the subsidized cost of using Chinese AI at pennies on the dollar. That's what's going to kill the Western AI as it gets better and as it will eventually maybe take over. I don't know. That's from what I'm experiencing, and that's why you've seen over the last 2 weeks all the latest and greatest stuff these firms can put out to sort of circumvent because of what DeepSeek's ready to put out, which I was hoping today maybe come out, but it's on the verge of it being released. But I'm dying to see it and try it out. And it'll work with the interactive thing I've mentioned as well, easily. Because with the nice thing about with the suggested extension I mentioned, with the Kilo extension, you can bring your own API key, and it works with pretty well anything out there. Open Router, and any of the direct major AI providers as well. So it should cover 99% of all the available AI out there on top of anything that comes out right away. So Kilo should be able to support it. It's a really good extension for AI development. And with the notion of this Claude code, if you want to save money, I'd go with the Kilo extension, as I've hinted at in prior videos. If you guys got any questions or comments further, let me know. I'm here to answer them. But I'm glad to be talking about the employer from the HFT firms. It's kind of not surprising to know that FPGA coders are using AI as well to keep their edge and stay quote-unquote productive. When there's a lot of AI out there that I know that are way better in that space than Claude. And I've only used one version. I'm not used the full-blown version of it, and I couldn't imagine where that's at. But I haven't tried it out because I don't have access to it. I could get access to it if I pay for it, but why? But but that kind of tickles my knowing that that's happening in these firms. And I'm sure the same big firms probably are panicking because of AI and what it's doing for us retail folks, the mom and pops out there, to keep up to date and surge ahead of what they've got. The only difference between them and us is capital and the account size. Okay, Moy's back. Oh well, at least for us C++ devs, we can always switch around to other industries, embedded, defense, specialized FANG teams. In the absolute worst case, even if it's lower pay. Yeah, you can do that. I think C++ will always be around. They talk about Rust, and I think some of the C++ folks knock Rust because once you start adding in all these automated features that are not part of the core, like that in itself is going to slow down Rust. Whereas if you use unmanaged code with your own memory management, C++, I think it'll still have some performance over Rust because it's no different than the garbage collector. If you can turn off that feature in Rust, that'll be good, but then why are you using Rust when you can use C++ and unmanaged code? Because that will give you an edge. And there's already, for decades, where people are managing their own unmanaged code with their own proprietary ways of doing that. So there's that as well. And Rust, I don't know. I think it's got a future for sure. It's a convenient way to write high-powered code. But I think we'll see. Will it meet the same demise as Java? Because Java was like that as well, and C#. But yet C++ is still on top, as far as I'm concerned, plus the C. Okay, so Moises Scholar, Rust for crypto firms, yep. Key Rock is one of them that comes to mind, and they've actually contacted me, and they're fully remote as well, with an office in UAE. Oh, fancy that when I already mentioned that. That's where all the firms are going, by the way, and a few other interesting spots, I believe. If you want to look at where the growth will be, I think it will also go out to the Mideast. Many months ago, I read Saudi Arabia is wanting to get in on this big leagues. As we know, Saudi is sitting on many oil royalties coming out of yin yang. So you can imagine where they will have the resources to deploy to build out their own HFT shops, which they're probably already doing. We just don't know about it. And really compete against the West. And I think a lot of the Western firms, because of the political blah, 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 are moving to places like Dubai because they don't want to be regulated to death. And that's probably another trend that's most likely happening, but we're not seeing it in the mainstream. So it'll be interesting to see how it plays out. Yeah, and I think that's where the growth will be in the next couple of years. And yeah, and I still say the same thing with the Rust, because look at, it took 20, 30 years for C++ to be where it's at, and it's still king of the hill with all the challenges of C Sharp and Java, and they're dying off. But let's see where Rust goes. But I don't think a lot of these firms are just going to throw all their code away and just go with Rust out of the blue, because the C++ Standards Committee has already responded with 25 to have new functionality in their new versions of 25 to be able to have that managed functionality built into those new versions. So that's kind of already being addressed. So C++, their standard council are pretty intelligent people as well. So I'll leave it at that for C++. That's my view of it. And the thing is, I love C++, but right now, if you have a bigger account, C++ is very good for a very big account and to take advantage of it. But when you're, trading it as a peon with dare I say, under $500,000, C Sharp, Python's fine. And there's no unique advantages going that route to the DMA. It's very expensive, and it's overkill unless you have a big trading account as well. So I don't know if that answers that. If you guys got any other questions, let me know. Glad to help out wherever I can. But thanks again, Moisa Scholar, for being here. I really appreciate your insight and just confirmation what I'm thinking as well, because with your insights being an insider in these firms, it just kind of verifies what I thought as well. So I don't know, because it's all changing so quickly. It just blows my mind where we're at, and DeepSeek will change everything in 3 months, maybe even sooner. It'll be so different, because with these AI agent things and Claude Code and the skills now, they are really revolutioning AI, and that's a whole nother subset of stuff to learn. I'm definitely going to do that. So in the meantime, if you got questions or comments, let me know. If you want to know the latest stuff for the skills, MCP as well, I don't know if you guys remember Andrew Ho, who's the godfather in education in machine learning. They just brought out a course about a month ago on that exact topic. It's free apparently as well. So just look up Andrew Ho on AI on the latest, and you should be able to find the course. A couple of people told me it's quite good. It's involved, but I think that's probably a couple of days of learning that might be worthwhile to really understand what these skill things are and MCP and all that. That's definitely going to be new standards. But we'll see how it goes. I'll update everything as I see fit. But way I could see agents will help me is currently I'm able to develop strategies very quickly. I'm able to build it off of news. I can do it in Python for medium frequency. I could easily do it 100% in C++ if I chose, but as I said, there's no point in doing it if you have a small account under, dare I say, $500,000. So where the AI agents is very good is for research, where if you have a process that you do every day, you can build out agents to do that for you. Okay, that's where the advantages agents will bring. And I think I'm definitely going to be doing that because I have a process I go through every day, and it's the same process. It can be fully automated with agents to generate PDFs and even to generate strategies from that. And I'm sure it's the same prompting every day now. So I can definitely use AI for that, or agents, I should say. The reason I wouldn't want to just do that exclusively is for learning purposes. Because if you're going to sit there and just let the AI run all the time and you're not learning from what it's generating, you're at a disadvantage because you're just relying on a machine. Whereas I like to learn every day what's going on in the markets. Yes, it is automated, but I like to know what's like happening in the markets with the way I've got it set up right now. And I want to keep learning that and keep reading it, but I can easily automate it for sure. Because I'm one of those old school farts where I like to read newspapers, and what it's generating now is no different than reading a newspaper on what's happening in the markets, if that makes sense. As I said, if you guys got comments or questions, let me know. I can mention more stuff. But as where I was going with what I just said, with the reading of all this stuff, it not just talks about futures and options, and that's all you need to focus on, because anything in the retail, in the spot market, to me is just noise, okay? It's just a distraction. I have no interest in trading stocks or ETFs. I have a bunch of portfolio managers that do that for my big account. I am more interested in the futures and options to do my own thing with a small amount and hopefully get it to as big as what I currently have with my other big portfolio, but get it into more of a automated way. But I still want to learn what it's spitting out. And the other cool thing about it, it has in there commentary of what's happening with automated trading, what's going on with quant firms, what's going on with HFT, and how it impacts futures and options market. No way I can work with that, but it's good to know and get the latest and greatest from that on a daily basis. And my news sources that come from are institutional level, like the big financial, news of Bloomberg, CNBC, all that. But it also goes all the way down to smaller firms like Elite Trader or Big Mike, whatever the Big Mike is now as well. Okay, more stuff. Moisa Scholar, very good topic here about vibe coding. Yeah, vibe coding is not the way to go. If you're entry level or even mid level, in my humble opinion, do the architecture, object-oriented design, and then sys-design yourself, and then use AI for smaller refactor and features. Yeah, you can do that, but it's very critical to understand those skills, no matter what. Definitely. But with the Kilo code, there is an option not just for coding, but you can ask it questions to architect the thing for you. Now, that will help you, but it's very critical to understand what the architecture piece spits out, because that's very critical. As I mentioned earlier tonight, so my other example for those that just joined, if you run into a situation where you're using, in my case, Redis, and you don't know what Redis is, and the client and the server ain't talking to each other, and you don't know why, and you're going down that, what I call AI debugging hell, because the AI can't figure it out. But if you know from a technical level that maybe, just maybe, the channels within the Redis are not getting updated or not being properly communicated, the AI ain't going to figure that out for you. That's where you need to know these little elements of the sysops and the object-oriented design and architecture, as Moisa Scholar has mentioned. Thanks to him again. Very important stuff, I think. Very critical. And yeah, you got to know that. Yeah, but as I said, Kilo Code does have a section where you can generally ask a general question, architecture, code. It's all there, but you really got to understand the critical elements of architecture. Because if you get into a debugging problem and you can't figure it out, it's usually because of some architecture that no AI, no matter how advanced, will not figure it out from a technical point of view. Because every software system will have major components to it. With way I got with that interactive broker thing that's linked at the bottom, there's three major components. There's the client trading bot, there's a message bus which is built on Redis, and then there's a server piece that will read in all the communication from the trading bots, turn around, and then be able to communicate that back to Interactive Brokers TWS. So you have to understand all those components individually, but you also have to understand the high level, how they communicate with each other, meaning the architecture of that. And it's no matter how you architect it as well. And if things start falling apart, there may be a better solution out there that you may not know about because you're not, unfortunately, educated in those elements, those important IT DevOps concepts, we'll call it, or whatever you want to call it. So it's important to know that it's a tool, it's fine, but with the way I've set this thing up, you can learn on the fly. You can ask for it to give you a coding breakdown, every piece of code it generates, and it'll fully explain line by line what it's doing. It's very powerful. And again, for the cheap, it's just a matter of you doing it and putting the time to do it and learn it on the cheap. Okay, who's got questions? This is a good one tonight. Great topics, great questions. One of the things I like doing about these streams is always a new topic coming up. It's not the rehash stuff. And it's always up to date, thanks to people chiming in with really new topics. Tonight, it's like we got somebody on the insiders verifying what I've been saying all this time. So these are the people I value a lot. Like I said, with this HR person from Millennium saying, yeah, can I ask specific questions? Yes, okay, I send the specific questions and she runs away. You know, it's the way it goes. Anybody got any questions or comments as well? No? One thing I'll mention about, I kind of mentioned, and you might know I'm talking about them there, I'm not going to say specific names, but I'm watching certain YouTube channels. There's a very popular one out there that goes on about interviews and knowing how to do interviews. That's fine. I think getting a job and getting a career, knowing how to do an interview, that's probably 5% of your success in the quant trading, quant coding space. 5% of it is interviewing. And if you don't know how to hold the job, you'll lose the job very quickly. One of the channel people that I know, they do a job for a year at one of these firms, and now all of a sudden they're an expert. Okay, I'm not saying they're dumb, they're not, but they're not an expert in the field. All of a sudden their next round of service is all these so-called quant gurus you get to talk to. How do we know what firms they're from? Have they been long-standing in the space? What information are they really valuable? We don't know. And then on top of that, all the so-called companies from these gurus that they come out of. How long they've been a guru at this company? Was it a year? How many years experience do they have in these type of companies? If you're one of these people that are spending top dollar on that, I would stop. I would stop dead in the tracks and ask how much experience do they really have, if it's real experience. That's really critical to save your money, because that's a new thing now among all these laid off coders, okay? They're all of a sudden doing consulting and helping people get into space when they just got laid off, which should say something in itself. You can do contracting as a self-employed. You can do all kinds of things, and there's a huge demand for IT, and there always will be, as a self-employed, if you want. And you get the flexibility there too. And it probably can pay just as well. I also do know that there are trading firms that don't want to hire coders, but will hire people as a coder contractor. I also do know if you're the person that has great signals and they like them, they're profitable, they will pay you for those signals. There are firms that do that as well. Jane Street's one example as well. These firms don't say no to where they can profit, and you're continuously profitable for these firms in or outside the firm. So there's always opportunity there, but don't get sucked into these so-called experts. I mean, there are experts out there, but do check their LinkedIn profile. And more importantly, assume that I think is more critical. If you're using trading whatever as a crutch and you're going to hire somebody as your crutch to kind of get ahead in this field, I think the standard will and should be whoever it is. I don't give a rat's bleep about it. They have to have a verifiable, profitable track record, okay? If it's 3 months, a year, it has to be profitable. I will give you an insider's scope. Thanks for the likes so far, people. I appreciate it. One of the things that I will mention that there are reasons why these quant start and similar platforms got started. These people tried, hey, Cryptorific, welcome. Thank you for joining. People go into these firms and they become failed in their career in these firms. They want to still continue doing it, so they become quote unquote consultants, and they can be successful at it, but doesn't mean that they can't trade. And that's always the key here. If you're going to follow a coder, if you're going to follow a math guru or just a trading guru, they're doing it for the same reason, to show whatever about trading. So the trading is the key. And if they don't have a track record that's verifiable, question is, should you follow them first? And especially if you're going to start paying money to them, do they have a verifiable track record? Yes, and it looks good and it's consistent. And specifically, if it can be synchronized back to the broker automatically, where it's literally trading in real time, then go with them. But those kind of people are non-existent as far as I'm concerned. I'm hoping to get there and being able to establish that. But I think that should be the standard. But there's not a lot of people accomplishing that because trading is so difficult to be able to beat the market or generate the alpha. But if you find somebody who does that with a verifiable track record, don't question it. Join them, whatever the fee is, because that should be the golden standard. Anything less than that is just B and below. And I'm the same, but I'm being honest about it. So there's that. As I said, if you guys got questions or comments, let me know. I'm here to help. We've covered a lot of good topics here. I appreciate that. If you've joined tonight, just so people know, including Cryptorific, the thing is that I had a stream earlier tonight for about 20 minutes, and somebody told me the comments are turned off. Okay, so there is that stream, and now we're doing part 2 tonight where the comments are enabled. So there's 2 versions for tonight. There's that 20-minute version. There's some info you might want to know there, and the stream here. So if you're just joining, you give it an hour after this stream ends, and then it usually takes about an hour or 2 for it to render on YouTube, and then the whole video will be there. So you'll be fully caught up. And that's about it for now. If you guys got comments, questions, let me know. Here to help on pretty well any topic. I even talked about relocating and the direction of the Mideast and where they're probably going with trading. So we've covered a lot tonight. And that's, as I said before, that's why I like doing these, because there's a lot of topics that do get covered that I've never talked about before, because of the topics that you guys come up with and ask and me ranting about it. And people seem to like the format. So here I am talking about it. So you guys got comments or questions, and if you're new with the latest that I've got, I'm not obviously forcing you to buy it, but there's the link to the new thing for the interactive bot, whatever, all generated by AI, all generated with Python, very easy to use, no matter what your technical skill is. I've designed it for people on a low end budget, because as I mentioned earlier about the cheapest Chinese AI, we're at that point now where we could take full advantage of it. And it's right linked in the stream itself, so you can always do that. The cool thing I like about Python, YouTube in the States, and eventually get rolled out, is that if you like something like that, you can purchase it and not leave YouTube. As far as I know, just for the US, but I think that's a cool feature. Anyways, enough of that. Here we got our first question from Cryptorific. Do you find it easier to discover HFT or intraday strategies? I've talked about HFT strategies before, and also tonight. The general consensus I find with general HFT strategies, they're just overkill. If you're coming in with less than, I'm going to say honestly, $500,000, you probably, it's just overkill. And most people fall under that. So the medium strategies are fine. Intraday strategies are better with the crazy volatile environment we're in now, even with gold. It's a good question. And what drives the markets, as I've mentioned before, is news. So that news could be very short term, like a day, couple days. So the faster you can code up a strategy that's ready to go based upon a news event or a news event that's anticipated, is the better. And I think that's going to be the new way to trade in this environment and be able to survive, because the standard, look at gold, look at the gold performance, look at Bitcoin. Everyone thinks that Bitcoin goes up forever, and now it's down 55% since October. So we know that's not going to happen. And even the AI said that this concept of hodling with Bitcoin is thrown out the door and it'll never come back. Gold is another great example. We had that big drop. It's starting to recover now, but look at the bars. Look at the daily bars on that recovery. Since that big drop, you'll see red, green, but it is moving up. That's going to make gold very hard to trade in. And we're going to have so many unpredictable events as well. And the nice thing about what I'm seeing with how I'm doing it, the AI is able to anticipate what could happen. And depending upon the model you use, it will also be able to do things like stress tests and probability and build strategies around that, or build one strategy to circumvent that, because it will automatically build in the parameters for whatever that stress test would be. And this is important to know, and be able to generate a trading bot with that, and it can be very sophisticated as well for the futures and options market. As I said, protect your downside, have your unlimited profit, quite literally when I say that, and then you're good to go. And it can be very sophisticated. The more sophisticated you want, the more capital you'll need. But I'm starting with 1,500. I'm hoping to go live trading in the next couple of days. I've been saying that for a while, but I'm virtually ready to go now with no hesitation. And then be able to see how this whole thing works out. And wish me luck. But yeah, definitely intraday strategies are going to be the new important thing now, because of the crazy, unpredictable volatility. And I haven't mentioned this a lot. I've mentioned it before, but I do think the markets are manipulated by the Fed, by the government. We have the plunge team in the Federal Reserve. Here's what they say. With that gold drop a few weeks ago, and so you can chime in and ask a question whenever you want. Whoever's watching, appreciate that. But here's my take on what happened with the gold drop. That just came out of the blue. They said, "Whoa, what happened?" And then Besant, the Treasury Secretary, well, those were Chinese traders that did that. Really? That's who they blame. But I do believe that somewhere in that plunge team in the Federal Reserve was really behind it. And I think what they did was they've somehow manipulated with a what's the word I'm looking for? A consortium of banks, large banks, like I can't remember the word, but they basically got together and just anticipated a drop all at the same time, just did some major event to purposely drop gold. but they blame the Chinese traders for it. But I think it was an inside job within the Federal Reserve, and it was coordinated. And I say that for two reasons. One, if you were following me all the way back to November, there are older AI models that I've used that showed exactly what they do. It's scary. Like, we're talking CIA, NSA level stuff to manipulate the markets, and how they do it. It's beyond me, but they get away with it. And they're still doing it now. Now, the other reason why I say they do it is because when you look at the markets, okay, we know I should have my little fake tinfoil hat to put on. But I think what's going on is that from what I'm seeing, some people say it's all about controlling the population. They don't want certain parts of the population, the mom and pop population, to be able to step away from the traditional financial system. How do we do it? Gold. You look at the moves of gold since November till recently, and how much it spiked in such a short time. Same with silver. They got spooked because that was the way of the general market saying we are giving up on the fiat currency, namely the US dollar, and it just tanked. So they got spooked. So the old way to save themselves from this, and we're not even talking about the crazy debt levels that they're at and how they're spending it like drunken sailors with a credit card, they got spooked. So they have to scare the market that they're moving into things like Bitcoin and precious metal like gold, silver. So they, behind the scenes, spook those type of people that are in there to hodl the gold, and then they get spooked and they go, oh, I don't want to hold gold anymore because it could crash again. So that's what's going on. That's my take on it. Right or wrong, but that's how I see it. And I do have content in my behind the paywall that would show that. And you'd be like, wow, that's NSA level stuff. It is. But it probably is reasonable for people who would want to get access to it. But I'll leave it at that. Anyways, Cryptorific, another great question. As always, I previously joined another quant group. I had my OpenClaw back test 4,000 strategies that use traditional indicators. Nothing tested well. Proves the market does not move based on indicators. Well, depends what you define as an indicator, because people traditionally would say, I have an SMA, simple moving average indicator, as an example, and that works forever. Yes, maybe. But as I said, with the volatility now, and it's going to be very long-term sustainable, long-term, which will make quite possibly those kind of traders go, I'm frustrated with the markets, I'm dropping out. So those type of indicators are not going to work over the long run because there's no more momentum in the market. As I said, with gold and Bitcoin being prime examples. So how do we trade that? It's exactly, I don't know, I didn't design it this way, but it's the way it's turning out, is to focus on news-driven, high-volume assets, highly liquid assets. And you let the AI decide what to do from it. With how I do it, I now work off of trading plans. If you go onto my website at quantlabsnet.com, I did a survey on it, YouTube, of different formats. So if you go into the posts on this channel, you'll be able to find it. The last 2 posts, I believe. You go in there and there's a link, and it will enable you to download these daily trading plans. Okay? These are generated over the last 24 hours, and they're very detailed, quantifying the number of options to take out per future contract, call put, whatever. And it generates anywhere from 20 to 30 strategies per day, no matter how bad the market is. It then classifies the anticipated Sharpe ratio, win ratio, the expected return, and it also does part of that an automated back test for that particular strategy. And it will then assess out of, let's say, 20, 30 strategies. Remember, this is just for one day. It will give you an assessment of what it thinks are the best strategies to work with at the lowest risk. And it gives you all of the anticipated portfolio metrics, okay? And then you go in, you decide which ones you want to go with and which ones are the low risk. That's how I do it. And generally, some of these opportunities may last 2 weeks all the way out to 6 months. So the AI is able to do all of that work for you. You just choose which one you want to pick. And then, yes, the stuff I've done today would be whatever bots you want to create would be compatible with the new thing that I just created for the interactive brokers. Again, the link at the bottom. So it's all there for you. And you can prompt it to create these strategies or trading bots for you based upon news. That's going to be the new way to trade, because we will have to find ways to quickly adapt to the market because of volatility. And the thing is, with these trading plans, they're all based upon events that may happen in a few hours, may happen in 2-3 days, they may happen in 2 weeks. And it gives a probability of it and the expected return from it. I've never seen anything like it, and it's quite excellent, I might say. So that's the way to trade. And again, this is doing all of what a quant researcher team would do for you, and then at the same time have the quant coding team to implement those strategies for you. It's all there. It's all done by AI. And as I said, it can be done by very, very cheap AI. It's scary what it's capable of doing. And it's ready to go for interactive brokers. And that's, as I said, the world's largest retail broker, as on top of pretty well with interactive brokers, you can trade anything out there, including bonds and fixed income. It's pretty powerful. And the only real cost, as I said, over the long run, is just your cheap AI, as I said, which is our now pennies, and the commission costs if you stick with interactive brokers. That's it. And we're there now. So you can have it generate all the back testing you want. It's all part of the done through the prompting. And if that's not enough, you can then ask. It's not part of this package, but what you could do on top of that is ask for, if you get access to real market data, you can feed that in as part of the prompt, which is, again, real market data, and ask for an assessment and even a more accurate prediction on expected results over however long it's anticipating on that trade. And you get 20 to 30 of those a day. It's powerful. But this is how I'm doing it now. And I'm at that point, which has been the dream, is to be able to generate strategies or trading bots on the fly within minutes. And we're at that point now, all based upon the most recent news. And the AI is so good, if you prompt it the right way, as I said, you can prompt it in a way to predict potential events. Right now, the big event in the markets, hands down, is this potential Iran attack from the US, because that's going to impact oil. And not just does it impact oil, it'll impact most likely Bitcoin and gold and silver. And of course, it will impact the markets as well. But out of all of that, it will assess which will be the most profitable and at the same time giving you the lowest risk. It's like living a dream, even though you wouldn't think it's possible, but it's here. I don't know how much easier, how much more I can explain to people on this. As I said, if you got questions about it, let me know. If you want to know more or just general stuff, let me know. And I also mentioned this will work with crypto as well. And so over the last few days, trading sessions, what's been the two big drivers is oil, because of the Iran-Iraq war. And I saw some very ingenious trades coming out of the AI with Bitcoin and Ethereum. A big one I never thought of is being able to generate a strategy using Bitcoin and Ethereum. So it won't matter which way the markets go. No, crypto Rick, this is not a course. This is an actual entire coding, like code in there that does real world trading using this combination of code. So it's not really a course, but it's just samples that you could use to build out your own infrastructure and all the stuff I'm talking about. So the other big thing that's driving right now, from what I'm seeing, is crypto. And it's usually between Bitcoin and Ethereum. As I said, there's some very interesting trades that I've seen between Bitcoin and Ethereum using a combination of mean reversion. And it doesn't matter if Bitcoin goes up or down because it's all driven by mean reversion. And you can build out arbitrage from it, from the combination of Bitcoin and Ethereum. Plus, it makes references if you want to trade Bitcoin and retail exchanges as well. It mentions all that. It also mentions as a reference point on inflow, order flow of Bitcoin and being able to build out trading strategies for the CME around that. And I'm seeing all of these major strategies come out of that. And the two driving forces right now are oil and Bitcoin and Ethereum. And then there's the odd classic, let's say the Swiss franc being a safe trade. You can get a strategy for that. I'm just blown away. I'm going to be honest. I'm blown away at what I'm seeing, and you learn on the fly, and it will explain not just step by step on the anticipated which way it will go, but it'll give you the reasons why. And on top of that, it will say this is what the quants would do based around this trade, and what are the drivers at that point that will make this particular strategy execute the way it does. So all of the things that you can figure is already built as part of that strategy. I'm blown away on it. And as I said, if you want to get access to those kind of two reports, I made them available yesterday. I'm at quantlabsnet.com. Just go to the blog, or the easier route is going to the posts on the YouTube channel here and look for the little survey I got running, and it asks you which report do you prefer, this format or that format, and you'll get the link there, and you can download both reports to know exactly what I'm talking about. Because if you figure that out and being able to automate trading strategies around that, boy, oh boy. And the way it's set up too with the interactive brokers, this client server thing for the client trading bot, it's working. I just generated one today for Ethereum. Works beautifully. And it's running right now. It's measuring out options, measuring out the skew, the implied volatility every 5 minutes. I don't know the heartbeat on it, but wow, that's all I could say. And it's very powerful. And it's built to be simple at the beginning, but if you stick with it and want to evolve, you will get very advanced very quickly, because it's all about repetition and patterns and letting the AI guide you. And then over time, you get to think like a portfolio manager in one of these big firms. And we know that the portfolio managers are outside of the management. Portfolio managers are top dog. They are paid millions of dollars. Millions of dollars. Forget quant coding, quant research. If you want top money per year, and you get good at it using this kind of methodology, which I think works, and I pretty well will say it does work, you'd be top dog in the financial world with these kind of techniques, using AI, and then keeping on top of the latest AI as well. It's pretty powerful stuff. Who's got questions? I don't know if that answers generally for you, Cryptorific, but definitely not a course. The guide of learning each component is a course in itself, but collectively, it's a complete infrastructure of trading, technology, or robot, but very simple stuff, and being able to use AI on the cheap and on the very quickly, and be able to respond with news events. As I said, I'm able to generate 20 to 30 news events on the worst day. Teach me, LOL, I need this. Well, you could start with the link at the bottom if you want that. I know you tried some of my stuff out, but that's the most effective way to trade. I purposely designed that from talking to folks like yourself through these streams. I knew that people want something, they want to know where to start, they want to do it on the cheap, and be able to build out very quickly using AI, and very flexible. This is the path. That's what and anyone asks me, where do I start? That's where I tell them, start there. And if people still say no to that, then they shouldn't be in algo trading. They should go out, I don't know, sweeping the garbage in the streets or something. That's good for them. Because this is purposely built to be easy, even if you don't know programming itself and you're willing to learn it on the fly as this thing goes out. Yeah, because that's going to be my answer. People are not willing to spend that measly $30. They should be in trading. They should be in algo trading and all that. If they're willing not to go down that path, I can guarantee you will not find anything like that. And I'm not just saying it because I'm planning to live trade off it. And it works on interactive brokers because everybody wants interactive brokers. So I'd encourage people to get on it if they want. Who else got questions, comments as well? 2 hours, hour and 45 minutes plus the 20 minutes prior, just over 2 hours. I don't mind. I can be on here for 3 hours. Just depends on you, the people asking questions. Please ask away. I'm very happy we had Mose Scholar. There he is. If he's got further questions, again, it's good. And then we got our regulars like JDC, and I know our CNN guys out there as well. If you guys got questions, please let me know. I'm just sitting here blabbing to myself as well. Yeah, I'm very excited with what I put out. Oh, here we go, Cryptorific. How does the AI know how a quant thinks? It's very simple. Well, it's a simple answer. You don't have to train it. You just have to know how to prompt it. That's the key. And specifically when you look at the new DeepSeek 4 or just DeepSeek even current, it's built by a trading firm. It's built by a quant trading firm out of China. Some of the other leading unknown AIs built by quant trading firms. So a lot of the AIs built with the mindset of putting their training experience into a general AI, but initially starts from being in the quant world. And DeepSeek's the most well-known example of that. But he's made way more money doing DeepSeek, obviously. But he made a lot of money just running the quant firm, but he just came up with an AI and turned it into DeepSeek. So that answers that, hopefully. But for you, even if you're new at it, it's just prompting. Just prompting, you have an idea and you just tell it what to do. And it'll go out and make the coding change that you want. Or if you want to evaluate it or whatever. The coding samples I provide in that interactive brokers thing, it's just a sample set to start with. It comes with 6 strategies. There's 1 strategy in there for Bitcoin. There's 2 for Apple and IBM, all basic technical, but there's, I think, 2 Forex as well. But I purposely put an example in there. Here's the MetaTrader example. I've translated it from MQL 5 into Python, ready to go in this environment. So you can go through any proprietary trading strategy out there or any open source from a proprietary trading language, PineScript, MQL 5, NinjaTrader, something that you may have built out or hired somebody to build out. You could feed that as part of the AI prompt and get it converted into Python, and you could test it, and most likely it will be ready to run in a production live trading environment. So just got to kind of go through the videos that I show in that thing. There's 2 videos right now on very recent videos I put out on YouTube on that. And then you just go through all the documents and you should be good to go. It uses VS Code, the editor. It uses Kilo extension for the AI, and you can bring your own key into it, most likely, into Kilo. And then you got the coding code there, and you can reference to the trading code, said 6 strategies, and it should right out of the gate connect into TWS via the server code. So, yeah. Is this separate from the news trader? No, it's all the same. It's all driven by the news. As I said, if you refer to the post I talked about for these day trading or trading plans that I've got, you can easily take any of those and make a strategy out of it. And then you can code that up as well. Do we have our... let me just see here. Just so everybody knows, we've got our first troll in weeks. Welcome. but thankfully you two caught that one. And I'm a programmer. I've just never found a tradable strategy. Well, with this stuff that I've got, they're very simple. They start, one's an RSI, one's a simple moving average cross. One is with the sophisticated MQL strategy, whatever that was. There's a Bitcoin one as well. So there are strategies that definitely the moving average crosses definitely work. The RSI is more frequent trading, depending upon, and you can just use those out of the gate and learn from those. You can modify those, and as I said, if you get a working strategy you find that's tradable, then you can, whatever language, you can convert that into Python and get it quite possibly running out of the gate. You got any other questions as well? Anybody else out there that's new, or anybody else that hasn't asked a question in a while, be my guest. I'm able to talk about anything you want. Marcus Braun the Troll, if he's still out there. We haven't had a troll in a long time. Yeah, so if you guys got questions, let me know. I'll be back on next Tuesday. I'm hoping to have traded live before then, over the next week. And then I might do a whole stream on that and talk about just the experience so far and see how it goes. I'd rather talk about it regardless of profitable or not. Obviously, my goal is to beat the market, generate alpha, and see how it goes. But I am right now only capable, and I'm going to be honest, I'm lazy as well. I just want to focus on futures. I can add in the options later, but the account's way too small to add in options. I can do it. I just want to start live with futures only, see how that goes. And then add in options. Because with options, that's what enables you to protect your downside and have the added unlimited profit. You can do a combination of puts and calls. The puts are there to protect your downside, along with the base floor pricing on a future contract that you can do, and then allow all the more aggressive, high-risk options trades, get the unlimited unlimited profit potential as well. Does the AI auto trade based on answer news, or are you taking manual trades? No, it's fully automated. You're basically building a trading bot. So again, it depends how you prompt it. I've got, as I said, 6 examples on how to prompt it. It's very simple and can generate pretty good code from it. It can also, as I said, do very sophisticated trades. So depending upon your prompt, for the trading bot, it just depends on the idea. I can't sit here and say, will it auto trade? Yeah, it will. As I said, there's out of box, ready to go RSI one. That trades very regularly. Like once the RSI is met, it's order, taken, and that's it. So you can have it any which way you want. Just depends upon the trading rules you build out for whatever strategy or whatever you find. But it will auto trade when the conditions are met for entries and exits, without a doubt. Even if it doesn't work, just to learn general AI, the way I built it with the Redis in between. It's a very old version of Redis. I think the code's not sophisticated, but the process of getting it to a point using AI, that's the magic. To be honest, crypto-rific. But it's dirt cheap. The AI suggested that this thing should be worth $200, just so you know. But I purposely put it $30. And that was as is as well. So anybody else or crypto-rific, if you got any further questions, let me know. I'm here to answer whatever you got. because I have no problem answering whatever you may have, because it's exciting to do what I do, and to know that where I'm at now. Yeah, I'm excited. 15 years, close to doing 15 years doing this. This is the easiest point I've been yet, and being able to do it so quickly with AI. And as you said, auto trade it as well. And purposely this time I'm using Python because that's what everybody wants. Everybody wanted interactive brokers. And yeah, I can do Bitcoin as well if you want. The problem with Bitcoin for me in interactive brokers, it's Paxos support. The Paxos exchange, that's what interactive brokers use, and I've had problems. And I believe I can't trade on Paxos as a outsider of the US. So it does put the order right into the TWS, but it does also trade all the equity, all the stock, and Forex no problem. I've tested it and it works fine. We got another held in review. Oh, YouTube's forewarning me it's not appropriate for me to look at. Even though I'm a big boy, I can look at these questions, but why bother? YouTube's pretty good at holding back all this stuff. So as I said, if you got questions about the interactive brokers thing, or automated trading, Python, investing, active trading, we'll call it, let me know. I'm here to help. I've got a decent little size now. And I'm very, very, very excited towards that. And I'm so aggressive now, I definitely want to live trade. And I'm going to do it with algorithmic, not interactive brokers, for reasons I've already stated, as well. So there's something that maybe I should mention in the meantime before somebody comes up with a question or a comment. My server that points to Rhythmic Trader Pro, Windows only, is done in C#. But I do know that the C++ API versus the .NET C# API, the C++ has some additional features that the .NET does not have. So maybe one day, just one day, I may just out of the blue convert the C++ server, sorry, the C# server into C++ to take advantage of that extra functionality. Some of the classic things that you can get, I've never seen in any API for trading, is they have some features in there that you can calculate to see what you're following has aggressive traders, or we'll call them aggressive participants, and whatever Rhythmic does to calculate that, you can get that out of box with the C++ API only. Okay, the C#.NET API does not have that, and there's probably some other very institutional level features that are in there, but the highlight that I take away from the C++ one is that versus the .NET. And again, I only found that in the Rhythmic API. So if anyone ever asks me why would I not just stick with interactive brokers, is because there's a lot more functionality you will not get with the interactive brokers, and that extra functionality can save you in your trades. So you don't have to get a third-party service like Bookmap, because some of that functionality is built into the Rhythmic API already out of box, but only for the C++. Who's got questions maybe on that? I don't know. But as I said, I don't mind answering whatever you got. Throw a mic. Okay, should I stay on here? Should I stay on a board? Let me know. Meantime, throw some questions or comments my way. I guess you could say entertain me. But we are dropping like a stone here on the number of people. It may jump up again, but I can only say so much in a short period of time. So if you guys got questions or comments, let me know. Otherwise, I'm kind of thinking maybe and then it gets fed to an AI, and the short clips get till Thursday. Cryptorific. What? Fair enough question. Well, it's a combination of things. Specifically, in the prompt, when I ask for it from certain feeds, prompting for this. The other things and where I got the source feeds from are from major financial news media, lots of independent ones. There could be some experts in there that are handpicked. And the other one, well, whatever Big Mike is, I can't remember the name of it. And Elite Trader. So with the Elite Trader and the other one, and I think there's some Reddit subreddits as well. And I include those on purpose because I just don't want the institutional stuff in there talking about. And then the AI thing will pick that up and then feed that as part of the analysis on those strategies I've talked about. And then I feed all of that stuff. So basically the quant, private equity, alternative. But usually the ones that percolate to the top are, as I said, are the highly liquid, high volume instruments on predictable events. And then it goes in and assesses, as I said, all the metrics for you, the portfolio metrics, along with you can get AI agents eventually to generate all that for me with an automated way I mentioned earlier. So that hopefully should answer. All the news includes CNBC, WSJ, Bloomberg, whatever. And as I said, lots of independent crypto. There's a ton. Crypto. Oh my God, there's so many. I can't remember them all. It's a couple of hundred sources each day. And out of that, it will mention and extract other stories from within that story in the feed. And the total number of feeds I'm bringing in has got to be at least 20 combined. That's why I get such a deep breadth of instruments covered. And then that's why I get so many strategies developed from it. And the whole process, once I automate it, it probably won't take more than 15 minutes to run. And then from that, I could also get an AI to assess the daily plan thing for trading and then build out automated trading strategies for me if I want. It might do that. I don't know. Anybody else got any questions or comments? We're back to 8 here. That's cool. Who's got questions? If you're new, I don't mind. I'm sure, well, I would say we covered the topic already, but I think there's always something new, as we've already seen probably 2 or 3 new topics I haven't talked about before. I'm hoping the AI picks it up for the clips, the shorts. Anybody else? Thanks for that recent like. I appreciate that. Anybody else got any comments or questions? I hate to say if because people want me to do live trading, as I talked about the third party verified track record. If I'm consistently profitable, and more importantly, if I can do it, generate alpha, beating the standard benchmark, which would always be the S&P 500. If I'm able to do that, I don't think I'll be as affordable as I am. There's no way. A saying that they say, I'd love to be able to just focus on selling Bugattis for $4 million, one Bugatti, as opposed to the equivalent would be 40 Fords, right? That would be like my eventual target, eventually. But I got people paying very, very, very cheap now for access to something that costs over 21K. They're paying like nothing because they got in early. And they're permanently grandfathered into it as long as they stay. But prices will definitely go up if I'm able to prove this live trading thing, as I said, with a verifiable track record. Yeah, so there's that. Anybody else got any comments or questions? Okay, I'm going to do a potential wrap up here. Just depends upon you. Type away anything, just so I know you want to get something asked. I'll do my usual, going once, twice, 3 times, and go from there. So, if you got something, type it up right away, okay? And I purposely do this because of the delay in the sync. Anyway, so we'll do it going once, 1,000. Let's see here if people type up. I go in 2,000. And I like to joke around, say 2,000 and a half. Anybody? Going 2,000 3/4. going 2,800? No. Okay, no one's typing anything. Okay, so do it going 3,000. We're done for tonight. Thank you very much. If just as a reminder, I got the prior 20-minute stream as well. If you want to watch that. For tonight, let this render. Thank you for watching. Do try to take advantage of the link below. If you're new to algo trading and the general AI and trading and all that, it will help you out, and we'll leave it at that. Thank you very much for watching. Have a good day. Good night, wherever you are. Bye-bye.